Keir Giles is a senior consulting fellow of the Russia and Eurasia programme at Chatham House, an international think tank, and he's also author of Moscow Rules: What Drives Russia to Confront the West. Welcome, Keir. So what do you think this mobilisation says about the state of Russia's army at the moment, and also about the mindset of Vladimir Putin?
Well, it's plain when you look at the text of Putin's speech that it is a moment of desperation for him. It's a recognition that Russia is on the ropes. For all of the bombast and the bluff and all of the positive noises that Putin is making, it's actually a recognition that the special military operation, as it's called in Russia, has in fact failed. Now, Russia's been able 3 or 4 times already to redefine what it went to war for. And of course, with total information control within the country, they're at liberty to do that again. But what this is stepping back from the idea that it was a limited operation and it was successful. It's an admission that actually Russia needs to dig much deeper into its resources, both of manpower and of industry, as you heard from your correspondent in Moscow just a few minutes ago, in order to stay in this fight. And Russia realizes it hasn't won on the battlefield, and that's why, as we heard from Kyiv just now, it's trying to target Ukrainian support elsewhere, outside Ukraine, around the world, trying to pull the rug from under Ukraine by eroding that backing that it has from other countries.
And also in this televised address, the threat of nuclear action by Russia became more clear than ever before. How likely is Putin to follow through on this, do you think?
I don't think it was more clear than ever before. In fact, it's the same vague hint at nuclear threats that we've heard so many times before. And because we've heard so many times before, Putin has to say on this occasion, this is not a bluff. Literally, he included that in his speech. In other words, I really mean it this time, even though on all previous occasions when Russia has set a so-called red line, and that red line has evaporated through Western determination to support Ukraine in defending itself, all of those threats have been proven to be hollow. And it's likely that we're seeing that again now. What President Putin wants to do is play on the fears of Western publics and Western leaders, again, to pull away that support from Ukraine, because it's the only way Russia can win this war.
And what do we know about how Russian people are responding to this announcement of partial mobilisation? We're hearing reports of flights out of Russia being sold out.
That's exactly right. The Russian people seem to be voting with their feet. If you think of the broad span of people who are actually affected by this decree, it's reservists and it's people who recently had military service. That's a pretty broad spectrum of the population. So yes, flights are sold out. The stock market crashed. Searches on Google for how to leave Russia actually went through the roof as well. So yes, this has not gone down well among the Russian people because, of course, nobody wants to be dragged into a war which people, no matter how much they might publicly subscribe to the propaganda, will by now be aware is going very badly and causing mass casualties among the Russian armed forces.
And then we've had these referendums in parts of Russian-held territory about whether to be part of Russia moved forward. What does that play into?
Again, it's a panic response. It's a response to Ukraine being so successful. Russia needs to play this card of pretending that these regions are part of Russia in order, once again, to dissuade anybody from supporting Ukraine in trying to liberate its population that are under these savage Russian occupations. We can't expect anything other than an overwhelming pseudo vote for joining Russia in these referenda in exactly the same ways as we saw in 2014 in Crimea. In fact, it's likely there probably won't even be a choice on the ballot paper. It'll be join Russia or join Russia in different words. But plausibility isn't really a criterion for success for Russia. If they can hold up a piece of paper saying these pieces of territory, of Ukrainian territory, are now ours, then they can say to the rest of the world that any attempt to liberate them by Kiev are actually an attack on Russia itself.
Okay, Keir Giles from Chatham House. Great to get your thoughts today. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on the programme.
Yeah.